Well, speaking about Australia and the relationship with China, the Belt and Road Initiative has been centre frame. The Labor Party's attitude is fascinating. Anthony Albanese and Penny Wong have adopted the right attitude, supporting in a bipartisan way the federal government's view that we should not, as a nation, subscribe to the Belt and Road Initiative. In Western Australia, in your home state, the Labor Premier there, Mark McGowan, has done the same. He's saying that Western Australia won't sign up to it. Yet you've got the Victorian Labor Premier signed and locked in and loaded and defending the Belt and Road Initiative and becoming a de facto spokesperson for Beijing's intentions here.
Well, that's right. We've seen Kimberley Kitching leading the Labor push to sort of denounce Dan Andrews' deal with China through BRI. We've had Penny Wong on the record, Richard Marles, now Anthony Albanese. It's becoming clearer that the Premier essentially ignored advice from DFAT. So I would call on Albo to pick up the phone and call Daniel Andrews, because if Daniel Andrews won't listen to DFAT, I hope that he would listen to someone who aspires to be our Prime Minister. But out in Western Australia, as you mentioned, Mark McGowan, the Premier here, he's been pretty tough on the federal government. A lot of his criticisms I disagree with, of course, but even he, in June of last year, knocked the BRI on the head, and then his government only in March killed off the Huawei 4G mobile data network on our trains here, which was in the national interest. So Daniel Andrews is very, very isolated as a Premier in his positioning on BRI.
Well, I just think it's unsustainable to have states running deals that are effectively in contravention of the national foreign policy that's against everything in our constitution. But it's bad enough at the moment with a Labor Premier and a coalition government. As you say, given what Anthony Albanese and Penny Wong have been saying, you imagine if you had a Labor federal government, how could they possibly have a Labor Premier running this program against their own foreign policy? Surely the onus is on them to sort this out now.
Well, that's right. And here's the contradiction for people like the Victorian Premier. He wants to enter into strategic arrangements with another country, China, through the BRI, yet he'll defer to he'll defer to the federal government on other foreign policy matters. So he won't speak up about the Uighurs. He won't speak up about Hong Kong and the protesters. He won't speak up about the persecuted church in China. He'll defer to the federal government on those questions. But when it comes to economic interests, he's happy to sign up to a strategic arrangement which undermines the national interest and also the foreign policy of the Commonwealth government.
Yeah, what a good point. He wants to take some of the benefits without doing the hard yards on this issue. I want to take from this, from foreign policy, from the big global issues down to the micro issues of politics now, and talk about the way you hit back at some media coverage in your own electorate. I think this is important because it relates to social media and how people are sometimes held responsible for what others post on their social media sites, in this case, Facebook. I'll show a little bit of how you responded in your own Facebook post.
And I want to talk to you about a hit piece which was put on me by the Mandurah Coastal Times, my local paper, which is owned by 7 West Media here in WA. And the substance of the story is that somehow I condone sexist and racist comments on my Facebook page. And I want to give you guys the inside rail on how a hit piece like this goes down.
Andrew, there you are on Facebook, hitting back. Now, the local paper had tried to associate you with the horrible remarks on your Facebook post. This is a tough issue. Did you get any retraction or withdrawal? And is this something that politicians around the country need to look out for?
Yeah, I think so, Chris. Look, I'm a fighter. I can take a punch and I can give a punch, and I'll keep fighting on these issues because it was a smear piece. It was designed to take some pain off me and suggest that somehow I'm racist and sexist in my views, which is completely to the contrary. And so it was about highlighting the double standard. As I mentioned in the video, 7 West obviously owns Mandurah Coastal Times, and on the West Australian Facebook page last week, under an article about the Consul General, the Chinese Consul General in WA, Madam Dong, there were plenty of sexist and racist comments posted there. So at the same time, I was getting questioned about whether or not I supported views on my Facebook page. They were hosting deplorable comments like those themselves. So I just wanted to, it's all business for me. I want a fair hearing like anyone else, and I'll punch back if people want to have a go at me.
Yeah, good on you, Andrew. It's an important issue because we can't be held responsible for what others post on Facebook. It's just too onerous. Maybe Facebook should be responsible.
Well, yeah, that's a real task ahead. And, you know, I sort of liken this period now to a bit like the Reformation with the advent of the printing press. Everyone's free to publish their own words now, and it's a little hectic on social media. Twitter is a sewer. I'm not on that. I think you got off it, Chris, if I'm correct.
Indeed.
I mean, who invites people into your front door to punch you in the face and then leave straight away? That's what Twitter looks like to me from the outside. So I wouldn't do it in real time. Why would I do it on the internet?